Rumble show, man, Rumble. Third time loading, fourth time actually, because we're doing a good job. A very good job, Jamaica. Like the Jamaica Constabulary Force. That's why we have standing solidarity with them today on this grandest day where they want to villainize and make the Jamaica Constabulary Force the villain in Jamaica society, which are not having it. So we have one with blue sweater and with green shirt. Beautiful combination, because these two teams, the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Labour Party, is working together to bring back Jamaica from the whole crime and violence that have been plaguing us for over 40 years, 30 odd years. Now we see a safer Jamaica on the horizon, and we see these enemies of progress, the JFJ and these PNP supporters and bloggers and PNP MPs, whatever, they are trying to fight against it. So today we're not having it. So we are standing and marching out in solidarity for the Jamaica Constabulary Force to continue to do their good job and let them know that they have the full support of law-abiding citizens. They have the full support of law-abiding citizens that want the best for Jamaica. And these are some callers that call in on the Cliff Use program, and they're stating it as it relates to them want the best for Jamaica society. Have a listen.
Good evening, Mr. Hughes and Ricardo.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good evening.
I'm okay. Question. JFJ will be having a protest, I understand, tomorrow in the transport center?
Yes.
And it's against the
Outside
JCF,
the transport
right?
center. It's not against the JCF as I understand it. It's against the increase in fatal police shootings.
Okay. I just wanted to know because I was asked a question and I said, I should call you guys and ask you if it's the same JCF will be out there upholding law and order, or they coming with private security. Just asking for a friend.
Well, you could tell your friend that it will be the JCF that's there providing security. Yes.
Okay, will do.
All right.
My peace. Bye-bye.
All right, Paige.
But let me hear your views on are you concerned about the number of police fatal shootings?
No, Paige.
She's gone.
630-937-124-618-8255. Willa, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
That is Ricardo.
Ricardo.
Good evening, Willow.
Yeah, you're about this demonstration and you're about color. It brings me back to the Bible. Yes, it brings me back to the Bible. You have a color that God talk about much in the Bible, and the color that was wear by the hem of the high priest when they're going into the holy place of the sanctuary. And I don't know if you know that color, Cliff or Ricardo.
No, what is it?
The color blue. And what the color blue represent in the Bible. And you people don't know that either. The color blue represent the Ten Commandments.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes. The color blue represent the Ten Commandments. Yes. And it's a missing color from most, for I think the Christian world, because they don't uphold that color, because many of these Christians today, these churches today, don't talk much about the Ten Commandments. Yes. Because it's telling us not, you can't, as what the Bible said, the word of God said, you can't hold 9 and forget about 1. You have to talk about the whole 10. And it's the whole 10 that govern the kingdom of God. And if we want to reach that kingdom, we have to be governed by it on earth here. Yeah. So tomorrow, they said one segment to wear black and one segment to wear blue. And the black, as we said, is represented by the devil himself. And the blue is from God. But I
think this is rather stretch, Willow. But I hear you. Thank you for the call. 630-937-124-618-55. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo.
Good evening.
Good
Cliff
evening
is here.
to you.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, sir.
This is your retired DSP, Christopher Bowen, giving my perspective on what is happening.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if any of you picked up this, and you are investigative journalists. You are such a good man. I remember you with the penguin thing and all of these things. You remember that one?
That's one I try to forget.
All right, I want you to forget it. But Emily knew me also. But I tell you this. You notice the day that JFJ choose to do their demonstration or protest?
What, Tuesday?
Tuesday what? The 29th?
Yes.
What else will happen tomorrow?
What is happening? Parliament?
The Minister of National Security will be speaking in Parliament. So JFJ is going out there to do their budget presentation at the same time, 1 o'clock.
No, but I think this protest was announced quite a bit ago before we knew that the minister was going to open the sectoral debate, man.
Look here, you don't listen.
No, but that's a fact. I mean, they announced this quite some time ago.
Possible.
Yeah.
But I tell you this. I will tell you, I could say a lot. But some people, they leave them in the engine room so they know everything and know the date when to assign what is what.
Oh, I see.
My good friend Bruce Golden leave some people in the room who pull up and give him a own goal. I am in you this, that JFJ planned this because the minister is speaking tomorrow. Why they don't go out at 11 o'clock before the minister speaks or starts speaking at 2 p.m.? It's a distraction because the police force is working. I will tell you this, that even the FLA, they are doing better training than the police. I might get a licking on my head back from a police now if I said this. But the JFJ, I remember Flo O'Connor lecturing me in 2010 when they were looking for dodos. And Flo O'Connor said to us at the staff college, listen, you see why we don't have problem? We don't make people talk and we don't talk for no story because you have to go through one central agency to talk. So it's very rare that a superintendent or deputy soup could speak. You have to send it up to CC and it takes so long. And it was until when Flo realized that when she had a family member that was injured by gunshot, and she said, you must talk your side of the story. I recall that well. You understand? They planned to distract from the minister's presentation. And I will tell you this, I'm not a police anymore, so I can talk. The PNP put somebody in everything, even on the church choir. The PNP have somebody right around a water commission. The PNP have somebody right on a road and work, and they try to do this. So that's the distraction tomorrow. You understand? I hear Dayton in St. Anne talking St. Anne's Bay. He should never come back to St. Anne's Bay and try to talk because he couldn't fix his mother gate. It is crystal clear. I hear the other young man this morning say it's crystal clear, but he wasn't speaking about the politician. I wanted to talk and say it is crystal clear that Northwest St. Anne will be staying the course. We are going to stay and wear blue. I'm going to wear blue for the police. I can't sleep at night for the 37 years that I've done because of criminals. And for the first time, I will tell you, I can't sleep with my door open. My door is open and you come and open it and see if you not can come in.
Thank you for the call, my brother.
I won't ask you where you are.
Yeah, I beg you one more single little point. I'm begging Crystal and Xavier. They started, and the minister Samuda, the water project in retreat to Brownstown started, and we have a stall in the work. I'm begging them, I'm begging Prime Minister, just run the work and make it go on, and even if him not to deal with spark, just run the flame and just deal with the thing, because I pray, I beg everybody that I see, give this Prime Minister another term, because me, do 37 years and me know them trick me. Me have to carry the previous government to Privy Council to get uniform allowance, housing allowance, all the way to Privy Council. That's why I support the Privy Council. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for the call. Paul, good evening.
Good evening. The senior cop that got damaged, how is he now?
That's
Minto.
We haven't gotten an update.
But anybody spoke about him?
He's back at work, my producer says. He's back at
work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. Good to hear. What I must say, you see, I am not for either of these two parties. Because what happened 2009 or 10, taxpayers' money was given to Dans. So these two parties have a lot to account for all these gangsters in this country. JFJ should have stopped right there and call on the country and say, no, why are we giving contract to these Dans to make so much gangs in this country? Yes. So these two parties should not boast about crime going on or whatever. The police should be recommended and praised for that. None of these parties.
But
all these Dans, what is they call Wanad and Clansman and Zeeks and Dodos and things there. They was given all that a contract to make millions to have farm thousands of people for gangs in this country. The police them must be commended for what they are doing, not politicians.
No, but you also have to remember and face the reality that the resources that has been given to the police force, that's been because of a government's choices in terms of... No, I agree. No, I agree. You won't hear me disagree with you on that.
Okay.
But I'm saying you certainly have to accept that some of the budgeting choices have been made and the allocations based on a record of how the economy has been... Okay.
But listen to this one. The army that have 6,000 soldiers should have only 2,000. We should have 4,000 men on the street. When I'm in my bed at night, I can't call someone to come and say, I have a problem. I have to call the police. So it's that 6,000 soldiers that's up my camp. 4,000 of them should be on the street, visible that people conform to the law. You know when people breaking the stoplight, when I stop at the stoplight, I see 2-3 cars passing.
Paul.
Yes.
You remember that the army has a distinct function, right? They don't conduct...
We don't need the 6,000 people in the army. We're not fighting in the war. We're fighting inland war against the criminals.
And a part of the army's responsibility is to secure the borders. That's a significant part of the fight.
We don't need 6,000 to secure border.
Well, I don't know if I agree with you on that, but thanks for the call.
No, we don't need that.
Appreciate the call, my brother. Michael Jackson, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Brooks, Sir Hughes, and your listeners. Happy to be here.
Good evening, Michael. Good.
I'm asking you a very direct question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think this is so important, considering all the pushback, all the abuse you're receiving? Why? Why go through with it?
You know, let me take it from two perspectives. No staff member at JFJ are martyrs to the cause. But the organization has a mandate. It has a purpose. And when we took and accepted that call to join the organization, we knew that there were risks. The things that we often advocate for is not popular. And I think as a Jamaican society, we need to take a look within an introspection on why some of these matters may not be popular. And we can speak to that very, very briefly in the minutes that we have. But in terms of the protest, we examine the numbers. But beyond the numbers, remember now that we get calls daily about allegations of abuse by police officers. For example, one of those calls that we got in early January was from a mother where her 17-year-old son was shot 5 times in the back by a JDF soldier. He could not walk. Right now, he's barely sitting upright. That child had the wits to play dead while he's still alive. And these are the types of calls that we get. Now, many among us may be quick to brand that child as a criminal. He must be doing something wrong, which is why I say we have to do a little bit of an introspection in terms of why we may be too quick to label an entire community as criminals in a lot of these instances. But we do get the calls, and sometimes the evidence that the family members present to us or witness statements is enough for us to call for greater scrutiny. We can remember Amaria Sterling, a 27-year-old who was shot down by Bugwalk. Remember, the police had a particular account in terms of the time of day that the incident occurred. Then the family released CCTV footage where we saw who appeared to be Omario kneeling down, hands behind his head, seemingly compliant with the police. Then what appears to sound like gunshots is heard. We have several of these cases. So when we do our protest, we're looking at systemic issues, and we're also advocating for and behalf of the families, some of whom are alleging right now that they are facing intimidation by law enforcement officers because they dare to take the matter to Indicom and JFJ.
Pause.
That is why we're having our protest tomorrow.
You say systemic issues, but your critics say you're simply broad brushing. You're taking specific examples and you're trying to make a mountain of a molehill. They say that there is accountability. They point to Indicom. They say that Indicom is on it, and they keep the police on their toes, and therefore the way that you broad brush is inappropriate. How do you respond to that?
I urge people to take up those Indicom reports and read them with great probity. And let me say this before I even get into that quickly. The type of advocacy that JFJ is doing now, when we advocated for Michael Gale in 1999, and we took a matter on behalf of 13 men in Grand Spin, those actions of JFJ and the mother of Michael Gale, Jenny Cameron, is what influenced Indicom that we have today. The actions of JFJ have contributed towards the accountability systems that we're seeing now. So again, it highlights the importance of a human rights organization. But our work is not done, because while we have the accountability systems, there are certain questions I have to ask the public. When you read through the Indicom reports, I hear people quoting that Indicom says 80% and so on have been deemed to be justified. I want you to pose that question directly to Hugh Faulkner and have his response on that. But when you go through the Indicom reports, case by case, yes, some of these matters, majority of them, are in fact deemed lawful, but you have enough where it says conflicting accounts between the police, citizens, and bystanders. Therefore, I don't have enough to advance to the possibility of charges being recommended. Not that the officers have been cleared, but you simply don't have enough. Remember, in a lot of these fatalities, it's the officer's word against a dead person. So who would be able to say this is an independent account of what may have taken place? There are some instances when you look at the number of persons with mental illness who were killed. No, the police has to exercise reasonable force, but the question is, what are the broader systems? So when the police get a call for a response to someone who is mentally unstable and waving a cutlass, what you want when the police is responding is a community response of mental health experts to help to de-escalate the situation. Let's look at Indicom's report again. Some 24 incidents of the 189 fatalities in 2024, there were no firearms, no other weapons. So I urge people to read through the Indicom's report. I can also ask the question, how many of those cases have led to the recommendation for charges to be laid? How many of those cases have led to prosecution and then conviction? And the numbers start trending down. Let's look at Indicom's 2024 report. The only 2024 incident that led to charges being laid in that same year was the Winrod Road incident, where the police stated, I came in confrontation with 3 men. They had firearms, and then CCTV footage said otherwise, and the police were charged, 2 of them, 2 weeks after. That was the only incident in 2024 that happened in the same year that led to charges being laid. Ask yourselves why CCTV footage was available. And that's all JFJ is calling for. Let's have an independent account, because we know that sometimes citizens will get it wrong. We know that sometimes citizens will unfairly accuse police officers who are carrying out their lawful duties. But the camera would aid in having those matters being resolved in a more timely manner. So back to the point I was making, if you look at the Indicom's report in terms of the number of charges that were recommended, you're talking about 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Only one that happened in 2024 was recommended for charges, because systemic delays such as backlog with the forensic unit, sometimes when Indicom show up at the crime scene, the evidence have been washed away. These are some of the issues.
So is it JFJ's considered view, Mikel, that a plurality or a majority of the fatal shootings of the police are extrajudicial?
Absolutely not. And we have never made that call to say such statements are used. And I'm happy that you raised that. What we have said, we look at each case on an individual basis. Every case turns on its own facts. So we have never, if you look at my own statements, absolutely not. We have never made a public statement to suggest that these matters were extrajudicial. We have raised concerns in some specific matters. Teron Hewitt, that was the gentleman who was shot by JDF officers down by one of the Zozo areas in Kingston, and Romario Sterling. We have raised those questions because of the evidence for those matters. But what we're saying is the numbers are increasing, and it is enough for us to call for greater scrutiny. But we have never been irresponsible enough to say that most of these matters are extrajudicial, simply because we don't have the evidence to make such a statement. So we have never said that.
Mikel, I see some of the threats you get online, and I can just imagine the ones that you get privately, you and your staff at JFJ. Do you feel safe doing this kind of work?
There are threats at times, but we consider them. We get security support, and the work is what it is, Ricardo. There are times when it becomes daunting, but when I listen to a mother, for example, the 15-year-old, where he was forced to go in the police vehicle, that's the Glengoff police station, and I speak to the mother, and we speak to the mothers of others. We are grounded in what we're doing, and that is what keeps us remaining focused on the work, and because of that, we continue to do what we must. But we won't be daunted by any threat. We continue to do our work, and we continue to do it with integrity and to the best of our ability.
We're out of time. JFJ will have a protest outside the transport center tomorrow at 1. They're encouraging you to wear black against the increase in fatal police shootings and the need for body-worn cameras. Of course, there's been a call for citizens to wear blue in support of the JCF. Thank you for your time, Mikel.
All the best.
Have a good night.
Okay. Well, it's 7:58. Just before we go, in Trinidad, the UNC continues to lead. They are leading in 4 seats. 6 seats?
Yes, 6 seats.
The UNC leading.
PNM is in 4, right?
The PNM is in 4, leading in 4, and the UNC is leading in 6 of the 41 seats so far.
It's slow going coming out of Trinidad. By this time now, Cliff would be getting ready, and everybody would be telling him wait, and he'd be getting ready. It's 8 o'clock.
Leave me alone.
Monday evening, a start. Well, yeah, the morning gone already, but a start to the new week. And I hope it has been great for you so far. All the revelers from yesterday who won with yourself, I hope y'all did some work today. Yeah? Been a bad mind. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you weigh in live in the comment section on today's public opinion, right? Clear lines are emerging this afternoon as civil society group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, yes, gets ready to take to the streets of the corporate area to protest against an increase in police fatal shootings. Now, 106 Jamaicans have been killed by the security forces since the start of the year. That's a more than 100% increase in police killings. This has prompted an outcry from the prominent civil society group, and they're urging Jamaicans to wear black tomorrow to voice their dissatisfaction with the increase in fatal shootings. Executive Director at JFJ, Michael Jackson, she's urging participants in tomorrow's protest to maintain peace and abide by the law.
We have articulated to everybody that we've invited on our social media post that it is a peaceful protest, and that is why on the flyer you see that being the biggest font size, because we respect law and order. Public safety must be maintained, and anybody coming out in support of JFJ and the call that is being made must respect that. We've heard that there's going to be some counter protest, and I would hope that those who are doing the counter protest would respect law and order as well and be peaceful in whatever engagements you're doing.
All right, so that's Michael Jackson, Executive Director at JFJ, speaking on the JFJ produced show Let's Talk Justice, aired on Nationwide 90 FM on Monday. But there's a flip to it now. The governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, and corporate heavyweight Fontana Pharmacy are throwing their support behind the men and women of law enforcement. They, on the other hand, are urging Jamaicans to wear blue and stand with the police. Yeah? Let's see what will happen. In public opinion this evening, we're asking, on Tuesday, will you be wearing black to support JFJ or blue to support the JCF? I'll start right away with the comments. There are a lot of comments on our social media platforms, X, Facebook, Instagram, so bear with me if I don't get through it all. I beg you, don't come at me. All right, I'll start on Instagram, where Wealth Garth is saying blue. Ross Clooney, blue. When I am sleeping, the police are out there protecting us. Sabrina saying, I'm wearing Spice full outfit tomorrow from head to toe, blue, in support of the police. Them in support of the police. Them, yeah, them. She said Team Squaddy. I'm seeing a lot of blue hearts coming from Blessed. Jet Slate say make JFJ go sit down. Okay. Blue coming from Charla. Yeah. All right. Seeing blue. I will be wearing black. All right. Michael Morrison, here's a differing view and we welcome it. Michael Morrison is saying, I will be wearing black for the citizens killed by gunmen, and blue celebrating the reduction in crime by our hard-working security forces and the investment by the government. York Rich saying, I'm not supporting any of them. For bad English, according to him, a sea of blue all over Jamaica tomorrow. Boss Lady, I see your blue hearts. Also, Mahalia Brown, I'm seeing your blue hearts. Nope, what color did they ask us to wear when these criminals killing off innocent people? Seeing blue all over is a daily. Jared, all blue all over. Massacre Sinner, okay, seems to not be in the know, is asking what are the colors regarding. Let me see if I can get in some more blue, a pure blue. Seeing blue. I'm just scrolling through and I'm seeing blue. All right, so it's safe to say our Instagram followers, some of them who commented on our public opinion question, true blue. All right, and I mean that in just not the literal sense, you know. I know JC uses that. All right, to the comments now on Facebook. On Tuesday, will you be wearing black to support will you be wearing black to support JFJ or blue to support the JCF? Marcia Lewis saying, blue me aware, law and order affirmating. Oral is saying, I am standing with the JCF, no political distraction. Paulette is saying, blue of course. Maury McCarth, I'm wearing blue in full support of the men and women who are keeping law-abiding citizens safe. Salome Paul saying, blue communities have been torn apart. Children, fatherless and motherless, parents without children at the hands of criminals. Definitely blue. Hopeton Cranston, I certainly will be wearing blue to support the JCF to continue their fight against crime. I'm seeing 100% blue all the way coming from Barbara. Nayoka, blue from head to toe. Let me see. Shins for Life Law saying, I won't be there, but from many thousand miles away, I will be supporting the men and women in blue who are trying their very best to solve Jamaica's biggest problems, called crime and murderers. Yeah. David Bless saying blue. All right, I'm seeing a lot of blue over here on Facebook. Audrey Allen is saying, while some killing, okay, let's get it right. While some police killings sound very ridiculous, we must admit that the criminal elements among us has gotten very vicious, callous, and you name it. Hence, in order for the JCF to serve and protect law-abiding citizens, they have to lay those hoodlums low. Therefore, I have to support the men and women in blue. That's coming from Audrey Allen. Yeah. Seeing blue all the way down. I'm seeing blue. Disrespect the color black. All right, won't say the rest of that. Bad English, so I'll be wearing blue to show my support for JCF 100%. I truly appreciate the work they're doing. I'm seeing blue, full blue from Annette. Audrey Smith, win, lose or draw, I will stand by the JCF, right, left and center, blue all the way. All right, so it's safe to say over on Facebook, blue. All right, let me see if I can quickly go to X real quick, not staying long because I need my YouTubers to know that I value them. Honorable Sally Porteous is saying, I will be proud to wear blue tomorrow in support of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Graham Jervis saying blue. Andre Lawrence saying to us, I'm proud to stand with the brave men and women of the JCF who risk their lives every day to protect and serve us. This Tuesday, I'll be wearing blue to show my respect for their sacrifice, dedication, and the critical role they play in keeping our country safe. All right, we are not going back. Took a picture of her blue nails. Wow. All right. Let me see if I can go to our YouTubers now. Coming at you. I'm seeing a lot of blue emojis. Blue hearts. Yeah. Paul Peart says Jamaica blue. Paul Stevenson said green and blue. Jacqueline Thomas, I see you. Blue. You know, Cliff did say a word this morning. Blue that. Blue that. Jacqueline Thomas is saying she's wearing a blue that. Yeah. Facts is saying time too hot for black. I'd rather stay true and wear blue with a bag of hearts. A bag of blue hearts. Straight blue line, says Chrisani Taylor. Yeah. Blue. Okay, Jacqueline. Yes, I see. It's going to be a blue day tomorrow. All right. So people listening in Radio Land, the YouTube full of blue. Yeah, I am only seeing blue hearts. Wow. Yeah. Andrea Henry says, I'm wearing peace and love from Canada. All right, Andrea Henry. Team Blue says, Howie. Anthony says, back the blue. Thank you, JCF. Marlene P says, no color around here. Yeah. No color around here. Are you saying neutral? Is that what you're saying, Marlene P? Or just no color entirely? Melbourne is saying blue, blue, blue. Yeah. And guys, let me see if I can get in some more. Petrona Smith is saying, I will be wearing blue in support of JCF. Cheerful Bird says blue, we say, whether here or there. Yeah, Carlene Smith's asking, what about blue and black for tomorrow? Both groups have something to support. Yeah. Let me see if I can get in some. Yeah, I read that one already. I'm seeing a lot of blue people. It is hard to see beyond the blue right here. Angela Ellis saying, police me say, Coffee Jam say blue and peace. God bless. I don't know. Oh, you have to say me nasty, right? When I'm here, see with me too. Well, my two eyes. But yes. Sharon Bless is wondering what color the opposition will be wearing. Jack Wilson says we must support the JCF and take back our country from the gangs. Let's see. MJM saying, why must it be either or and not both? And we need both to maintain accountability. Loved the differing views. Electro Squad says phone case, headphones, ID, everything blue, says Electro Squad. Philip Jackson says all who wearing black is for criminals. Wow, Philip Jackson. Shane Mark says I standing with the JFJ. Yes, Shane Mark here saying I standing with the JFJ. Blue all the way coming from Donna Thompson. Yeah. Reasonable Thinker says blue, the JFJ fast becoming unpopular. Just like, I won't say that. All right. Claude West says the whole Jamaica turn college men tomorrow. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of blue. Yeah. Radley, or is this? Yes. Radley Boy is saying the interesting thing is that plenty people will be in black tomorrow. Okay. I'm sure. Okay. I'm seeing Black Heart coming from Shane Mark saying JFJ. Yeah. Right, everything blue I'm seeing in the US, but will be in my blue. Donning my blue says Ronald Grant. Yeah. Wow. All right. Sharon bless me make sure say my blue clean. What is that you're telling me, Sharon? What is that? I'm coming in white. Yeah. Andrea Henry says both sides must be heard respectfully. Yeah. All right. On that note, I'll end right there, getting the wrap up signal from Bugs. Yeah. We'll see what happened tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Yeah. All right. The business report is up next.